You wake up tired, not because the day is heavy, but because your mind never slept. Your body rose from the bed, but your spirit stayed behind, somewhere in yesterday, arguing with ghosts that no longer exist. You call it exhaustion, but it is something quieter, something deeper. It is energy leaking through invisible cracks you never learned to seal. You spend your strength fighting what already happened, worrying about what hasn't arrived, and trying to control what was never yours to hold. And slowly, without noticing, you bleed yourself dry. The samurai understood this long before us, not as warriors chasing violence, but as humans protecting life. They knew that energy is sacred, that attention is a blade, that where you point it, something will be cut. Most people swing wildly, at opinions, at regrets, at imagined futures. And then they wonder why their arms ache and their victories feel empty. Marcus Aurelius whispered it plainly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. But we don't realize it. We forget every day, so we give our power away, bit by bit, conversation by conversation, thought by thought. We replay insults from people who have already moved on. We rehearse arguments that will never happen. We chase approval from crowds that don't know our name. This is the first way you waste your energy, by fighting battles that do not exist. The samurai called this restraint, not weakness, precision. Not weakness, precision. They did not draw the sword for every provocation. They waited, they observed, they conserved, because a blade pulled too often loses its edge. Seneca warned us the same way. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Think about that. Most of your pain is not happening. It is remembered or anticipated. Your heart races for futures that may never arrive. Your chest tightens over past moments that cannot be changed. And while you are busy there, life passes quietly through the present moment, untouched. You miss the breath. You miss the light. You miss the simple miracle of being alive right now. The samurai trained their minds to return, again and again, to this moment, because power only exists here, not in regret, not in fear, here. The second way you waste your energy is more painful. You try to control what was never yours to command. Other people's choices, other people's feelings, other people's loyalty. You bend yourself into shapes, hoping someone else will finally stand straight. You over-explain, you over-give, you overstay. And when it fails, you blame yourself for not being enough. Epictetus spoke softly, but his words cut deep. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. Read that again, slowly. Some things are not. No amount of effort will turn someone honest. No sacrifice will make someone loyal. No love will awaken a heart that has chosen sleep. The samurai accepted this truth without bitterness. They focused on discipline, not domination, on their stance, their breath, their response. Never the storm, only the shelter they could build within. But you exhaust yourself trying to manage the weather. You check messages obsessively. You read silence as rejection. You twist meaning into every pause, every delay. And your energy drains away into anxiety that produces nothing but tension. Let go, not because you don't care, but because clinging is killing you. Control is heavy, acceptance is light, and lightness is strength. The final way you waste your energy is the quietest of all. You abandon yourself. You ignore the voice inside that knows when something is wrong. You override your intuition to keep the peace. You betray your values to belong. The samurai lived by honor, not applause. They would rather stand alone than stand false. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Simple words, rarely followed. Every time you act against yourself, a fracture forms. Small at first, barely noticeable, but over time, those fractures spread. You feel it as numbness, as resentment, as a quiet sadness you can't name. Your energy disappears because you are divided. Part of you performing, part of you protesting, and the divided soul is always tired. The samurai unified themselves through alignment. Thought, word, action. One direction, no leaks. When you live in truth, energy returns. Not as hype, not as noise, but as calm. A deep, grounded calm that does not need validation. This is where the shift begins. Not by adding more effort, but by removing waste. Stop feeding imaginary enemies. Stop carrying, seek small the burdens. Stop leaving yourself behind. Sit with yourself, even when it's uncomfortable, especially then. Because peace is not found by escaping pain, but by meeting it without resistance. Breathe. Slowly. You are still here. Still breathing. Still capable of choosing again. The samurai knew that mastery was never about others. It was about standing still while the world tried to pull you apart. And you can learn this too. Not overnight. Not perfectly.
But begin to notice the silence. At first it feels unfamiliar, almost dangerous, as if something is missing. But nothing is missing. Something has finally stopped. The constant noise, the inner commentary, the endless need to react. This is where strength starts to return. Not as aggression, not as domination, but as presence. The samurai called this stillness, the space before the strike. Not empty, loaded. Most people fear this space. Because without noise, they must face themselves. And many have been running for a long time. Running from disappointment, from grief, from the quiet truth that not everything worked out the way they hoped. So they stay busy, mentally, emotionally. Busy is safer than honest, but honesty is lighter. Seneca once said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." Pain is not the enemy, avoidance is. Every emotion you suppress does not disappear, it waits, and waiting costs energy, so you feel drained, even on days when nothing happened, because something is happening inside. Unfinished feelings are heavy luggage. The samurai did not deny pain. They bowed to it, learned from it, then let it pass. Like weather, you, however, build homes inside storms. You replay the same hurt until it becomes identity. I am broken. I am unlucky. This always happens to me. These thoughts feel true because they are familiar, but familiarity is not truth. Marcus Aurelius warned himself, the mind becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. What color? Have you been painting your mind? Gray from regret, red from anger, blue from longing. None of them wrong, but none meant to stay forever. Energy returns when you stop gripping emotions as if they define you. You are not your sadness. You are not your anger. You are the space, aware of them. That awareness is freedom. The samurai trained awareness as fiercely as the body. To notice tension before it hardened. To sense fear before it ruled. And you can do this now. Notice how often your jaw is clenched, how shallow your breath becomes when you think of certain names, how your shoulders rise when you anticipate conflict. This is where energy leaks, through unconscious tension. Relaxing is not laziness. It is intelligence. Epictetus reminded his students. It is not events that disturb people, but their judgments about them. You don't lose energy because life is hard. You lose energy because you argue with life. You say, this shouldn't have happened. They should have known better. I deserve more. Maybe you do, but resistance doesn't deliver justice. It only adds weight. Acceptance is not surrender. It is clarity. From clarity, right action emerges. The samurai never wasted strength on resentment. Resentment clouds vision, and a cloudy mind misplaces effort. You've felt this. Trying harder, but moving nowhere, because effort without alignment is just friction. So pause, not to quit, but to recalibrate. Ask yourself,